one of the best ones is no. You make the X with your hands. Just shaking your head doesn't work for some people, especially at furry cons. So it's best to have the no. You can even shake your head with it, and it's very clear. No, I will not do this. Very useful to do with when someone hands you a baby. Never hold a baby. Never hold a baby ever. I'm trying to think further. Do you have something, Sonny, or to throw in, or you just chilling? Okay. Okay. So I just want to. This is me when I start to ramble. This is Greg. They should not have given me 2 panels at once. What's up? You want to say something? Thank you. Talking in outside. There are certain people that you will need to talk to. These people are the police. The police are important for a myriad of reasons, which I won't explain here or get into a debate about. But if you are outside and in a fursuit and you're just chilling or whatever you're doing, and they come up to you and ask, "What are you doing here?" Answer them. Answer them. It doesn't matter. Oh, hey, rat. It doesn't matter if your character is a non-speaking character. You need to answer them in some way that is nice and small. You gonna pop it? Oh yeah, pop it. The easiest thing to do is to pop your head and just talk to them clearly. Talk to them clear, concise. Just be friendly and amicable about it. You know, I'm just here. I'm just here in the park. I'm just hanging around. I'm just waving at people, just enjoying my day. The main reason why they're stopping you, especially here in Chicago, is they want to know if you're selling shit. Because when you're dressed up as the Nesquik bunny, I'm gonna keep going back to that, but if you're dressed up as like the Nesquik bunny passing out the cereal, you already have a permit to be there. You have your permit to have your booth, to have your mascot out or whatever. They're checking to see if you have some kind of reason to be there. And if you're just like, oh, I'm just doing this as a hobby for fun, I'm just hanging out, they'll just be like, oh, okay, that's fine. A lot of them now want to take pictures with you and that stuff, that's cool. I'm gonna push you back. But, in that way. Sorry, kind of almost blocking the front row a little bit.
Well, Maddie,
What?
how about Vegas? Some people expect you to be, panhandling?
Yes. But yeah, they'll want to talk to you and just make sure you're doing what you're doing. Obviously, they're checking for some kind of permit if you are selling something, or if you're dressed up as some kind of copywritten character, which has its own problems to it. As Sunny just mentioned, there are some areas where they are frequently visited by tourists. We have Navy Pier and Grant Park out here. The one he was specifically mentioning is all of Las Vegas, which is his own problem.
There's also Hollywood Boulevard.
Hollywood Boulevard is one. Times Square, where they have a lot of characters that are walking around and panhandling, and you need, whatever licenses and whatnot you can to do that.
That could be me.
Elliott Spring Gathering, if any of you have been to that, it's not actually a convention, it's a giant party that happens in various cities around the world. It's been in Vegas twice now, and every single time they tell you not to go in fursuit outside the hotel because, you're not exactly on the strip, but you're staying in a hotel that has a casino. You have to abide by what the laws that they have, which are, no panhandling, you can't go on the casino floor with your fursuit on, face covering issues, which is also an issue with the mall, which is an issue and will get you kicked out. There's a lot of challenges that come from that. Other people you should talk to, other than your handler and other than the police and any other kind of law enforcement, fire, security, that kind of thing. Just people, like if people are just genuinely concerned for you or your well-being or what are you even doing here, it's fine to just break character and be like, oh no, I'm just doing this, it's fine, right? They'll warm up to it, they'll understand. A lot of shopkeepers do not want you going in their stores. Some will invite you in. A lot of bars tend to invite people in because it's something fun to look at other than drunks yelling at them all night. but there's a lot of shopkeepers that don't want you to go in. For some reason, and I can't fathom why, PetSmart is a really fun place to take people to. There have been many occasions where people like Sprocket here have been taken in on a leash and he's acting like an uncontrollable puppy and the guy's like trying to get like a dog grooming session booked for him. Yeah, and some of the employees will get it and some of them will just like, they want you out of their store because you're causing a problem. Stores are not a good place to visit, generally. Stores are not a good place. Anywhere that is too hot is not a good thing. Again, this depends on your heat preference and how your body can take certain things. Deserts are bad places. Deserts are bad places. Anywhere really hot, anywhere really cold is nice. Anywhere cold is nice. Anywhere hot is a problem. Prowl has something to say, which is good.
So one thing about performing in public places is, we talked earlier about whether you're a speaking character or a non-speaking character. When you're in public places, especially when random people approach you, sorry the microphone's wrong. Yeah, so they're going to probably expect you to talk, which is weird because if you go to any park or anything, you don't see the characters talk. But when you meet a random stranger, they're going to start asking you questions. And at times like if you really want to be able to, communicate with this person, it can be useful to actually speak to them. And of course, especially if it's somebody of authority, you want to speak to them. But in general, normal people tend to have more of a reaction to characters, and then sometimes furries will, because we've all seen them millions of times. So it can be a lot of fun to go in public, but just remember, respect the people that you're around. And if somebody starts giving you trouble, or if somebody's looking at you weird or whatever, don't fight it. It's best to just move on. You can tell them what you're up to, but in general, there's lots of other places to go. And with today's society and how there's so much going on right now, people are going to be more suspicious. So you really just have to get used to that and use that.
What?
I tend to find a good rule of thumb, because I've done this in public a bunch. Parents with little kids, talk to the parents. If you make cute noises or don't talk to the kids, stay in character. Adults that are just with groups, I'll tend to do whatever. I don't tend to follow my own, usually no speaking rule that I do in furry cons or anime cons outside, just for those safety reasons. What I've noticed also with police was the best is pop your head as soon as possible, tell them exactly what you're there for. I'm just here to have fun. I've had that happen in downtown Chicago, and most of them are like, what are you doing? Pop the head up. We're just here having fun. We're not selling anything. Okay, and they go away. So it can be that simple if you're on the ball with it. And yeah, that's pretty much it, like general adults hanging around. And then also when you're out in public, you kind of have that here at cons too, but really out in public, beware of people that look intoxicated. You may want to go the other way. Or make sure you have handlers who know they're intoxicated or something to protect you, because they could get a little manhandly and rough with you. Oh yeah, well, if you're intoxicated too. There is that. But try not to do that in public.
Okay, interacting with people. I just want to, that was a good unforced segue. I'm not being facetious. Talking with people and interacting with people. It's not just kids that are shy or will cry at you. There are plenty of adults who do not like costume characters. There are people that are going to this con that hate fursuits. They can't stand fursuits because it gives them the same kind of weird, uncanny valley feeling that mascots suits do. General rule of thumb is that if you see people and you're looking to approach them, wave. Don't give like a queen wave or like a scritchy wave or something. Give them a wave. Whatever it is in character, depending, just something to grab their attention. If they come to you, that's the invite. It's kind of like with, old school vampirism, where like you have to invite them into the house. So when you appear at the door and you wave, that's you asking, can I come in? If they come up to you or if they wave back, that's the invitation to come in. You can now approach that person. Actually, the suit should approach me because I'm out of suit right now. Now they can approach and look creepy as fuck. Later. Let me finish the panel before you eat me. God. Freaking cats. You're keeping an eye on him and he's keeping an eye on you, okay? Sonny, just stay cool. Just chill. Just chill. He's a delightful beverage. You know, skip the Coke and the grape, and he's right there. That's your invitation. Approach with caution. There's a lot of kids who will just break out and start crying or whatever. Good thing to do with kids. Kids are very easy. Kids are very, very easy to deal with. Get to their level. Kneel down if you have to. Kneel, you know, so you're at kind of a high level, at the eye level, so you're not as intimidated. You can go into a hug pose of that. You can wave still. You can go for a high five. If they're really still kind of scared of you, be scared of them. You be like, oh no, oh you scare me too, and it kind of builds some modicum of trust. It's kind of like, you know, when you're facing like a wolf or a bear in the jungle or forest or wherever you find wolves or bears. I don't know anymore. It's that kind of thing. Also, the peekaboo thing really works because some people are really disturbed by unblinking eyeballs. Doing the blink thing really helps. Like doing the quick little peekaboo thing. Kids love it, but it also desenses some of the adults that are squicked out by that kind of things, like mascots, or even just like, you know, the eyeballs of fish when you see them at the fish market, how that really screws with people. It's kind of the same thing with fursuit eyes. So just giving that quick refresh will help a bit.
Like following eyes.
Following eyes, some people are weirded out by following eyes. That does happen. Kids are easy. They love the high five. They love, you know, the pat on the back, the hug, the whatever. Adults love that too. There have been many, many times when I've been out there and I've just like given this kid like a high five or whatnot and a hug, and they've been a little shit all day, and they suddenly light up and they're happy and they get the hug and they're finally behaving for this parent, and the parent's really happy that their kid is now finally not being a little shit for them. And that's very easy to deal with. When you're with adults, there are a myriad of challenges because kids are facile and they have a limited emotional palette, which usually ranges between, you know, happy, sad, and angry, and sleepy. Adults are very much more complicated, and there's many different things that you will have to look out for with adults. One of them being intoxication, unless you're in France. Yeah, there's a whole myriad of different things, different ways people will treat you, and honestly, the whole wave before you completely approach them is a really good way to cross any kind of boundary. They will let you know. Yes.
I want to say that I went to
whoa, God, that was loud. Okay, I went to, let me put this over here, I don't like to hold it. So I went to Anthrocon just a few months ago, and I did notice just walking around in the city that some parents, the kids were all for, they were, oh my God, a giant kitty over there, but the parents sometimes would hide their kids behind them, or the parents just did not like the way you looked. So when it comes to like being in public or whatever, I would suggest just seeing the parents' reaction. Just, you know, because sometimes the kids are not scared of you, and the kids really do like to see this whole giant animal just walking around. I did after being out in the town or whatever, I did notice that sometimes the parents were the ones that just did not want to see, you know, their kids being around this giant animal. Sometimes they just don't like furries or whatever it is. So just keep an eye on that. See. Oh, there the parent. If you can read the body language of the parents and see if maybe they don't want you around their kids, it's probably not a good idea to approach the kids or, you know, do a high five, because I did get some issues with some people when I was at AC. So, you know, it's just one of those things.
There are parents, adults, they are complex not only in emotion, but what they're doing. Like, they may hate your character, they may hate fursuits, they may not feel comfortable, they may be just busy, and they just had a really rough day dragging their two little shits around from store to store, and they need to beeline to another area, and you are a distraction from getting back to the parking lot, right? There's a myriad of reasons with adults. Again, kids are simple, just pass them by, give them the wave, they'll wave back, and they'll be like, mommy, I want to hug the suit, and parents will be like, no, whatever. Just deal with it that way. The opposite problem can happen. The opposite problem can happen where a parent will want to leave their kids with you. Because you have now become the television. You know, the parents will come home, they'll throw on the TV, they'll throw on the gaming system, whatever. You have now become the Xbox for these kids, and they just want to use you like a jungle gym. They want to mash every button on that controller. This is also a good time to use your no and actually be very clear with the parent, like, you know, you cannot leave me, you cannot just abandon me with your kids because I'm not here as a promotional service. You know, I'm not a theme park mascot here. I'm just walking down the street to Fernando's to get my sub. Yes.
Yes, and that actually came up. Can anybody hear me? I'm talking pretty loud, but that actually came up, interestingly enough. Every year there's this big art competition in our town, and we always first for that. And we actually came across some kids who were panhandling, were trying to recruit us to do the same thing. Like to help them, like we would walk up and be like, hey, you want to see a magic trick? I was like, I see your hat, I know what you're doing here. But yeah, they were trying to like get us to do it, and we couldn't see any parents whatsoever. So basically, if you don't see an adult, tell tell police officer, tell security, tell somebody else, like, and then just remove yourself from the situation.
Yeah, just get away from that kind of garbage as well. Adults alone, that's cool. You can deal with that in any kind of way. Kids alone, or unsupervised kids, or kids that you're just kind of magically left with, that's a very bad place to be. That just sucks. Unsupervised adults can be a problem too.
Oh yeah.
I got punched in the face once, which is great.
Sorry about that.
I got a little overzealous, and I got a little overzealous once as a performer. I'm kind of using this as a reverse segue here. Hold on. Sorry, I'm a little, you know, if you've ever seen Fantastic Mr. Fox, you know, people can be a little, that's me. I was a little overzealous. I was a new fursuiter. I thought I could do anything. And I went to the bowling alley, and there was a bunch of people in the bowling lane next to us that were having a really great time. They were having a few drinks, probably. It was really dark in there. I couldn't see shit. And one of the women there was like, oh, you're really cute. You guys are so awesome. It's usually the ladies. The ladies are like, yeah, you guys are so awesome because you're saving me from my terrible boyfriend. And she was cool. And then she like actually came over to our side and wanted hugs from all the suits. And I clued that in as, okay, I got the invite and I'm set, and this person wants to see me perform because I'm such a great actor. And I very quickly got punched in the face. Thankfully, there's a lot of padding in these suits. Being a really old suit, if you can hold the head sideways, there's a lot of padding in that muzzle. It goes out a good like 6-7 inches there off my face. So it took the impact. My head was still down here because the lady's boyfriend did not like me, and he screamed, "Get the fuck away from my girlfriend before I fucking take you out back and punch the shit out of you." So once you have that invite, once you have that lovely little invite, keep it simple. Simplify everything that you do. I mean, we talked earlier, if you're just joining us, we did the intro to Fursuiting performance, and I talked a lot about motivation, finding your character, building all that. You have to tone that down when you're in public. You can't treat regular people on the street like you would, you know, like your friends at a furry con. I just thought, you know, that I could be whatever cartoon character I wanted, and I couldn't because I'm in a friggin' bowling alley interacting with a drunk woman. Like a hi, a wave, a hug, whatever, that is fine. You can still apply the same whatever you're gonna give a kid to an adult, just don't talk down to them, or don't act down to them if you're not talking while you do it. Because the adults are like, oh yeah, you're so cool, let's take a picture. And then you take a picture and they are satisfied with their life and they'll go off and do whatever you want. You don't really need to ham up or play up your role or do any of that kind of stuff when you're dealing with people. Hugs. When you give a hug to a person, you know how you hug a person? You hug like a normal person. What you did there was bad. Did anyone see what he did? I just went, or you can even one hand, or you can even give the bro pat. one bro pat, one. He did this. Don't do the scritches. Regular people freak out when you give them scritches. It was a pat. Don't pat. I'm not a baby. You're not burping me. Don't pat them. Don't scritch them. Just give a plain hug. You can even do, you know, if you're taking a photo, you can either do this or the hover hand or whatever you're gonna do. Just like keep it very simple, keep it very clean. Squeaky is a very bouncy kind of animated character, and there was this one LAN party I went to of all furries, and there was a new guy that they had talked to, and he seemed like a pretty cool guy. He came by, he was not a furry, and they were like, man, it would be really funny if you just showed up at Fursuit and gave this guy a hug. So I did, and I was like, hey buddy, what's going on? This is great. And then I hugged him, and I kind of, because I have the knees and I'm always bouncing, I did this, and this, when I hugged him, translated to this in his mind. So he freaked the fuck out right in front of me. It was just like, no, I don't want this. Like everything I've heard about fursuiters is exactly true. And they're shooting a CSI episode right here. And so he eventually bolted after a couple hours because he was not happy or comfortable with it. You know, keep a firm stance. You can even stand up normally if you have to, but you know, don't bounce, just give a good solid hug, that's it. Good solid high five, good solid wave. It's all about good solid, you know, core movements. You're not doing any kind of nuance work here, because frankly, they don't care. Their kid is now pacified, and they got a nice selfie for their Facebook wall. That's it, that's all they need. Simplify your character. Wait, what are you doing? What are you miming here now? Oh, the wrist hug. Oh yeah, no, that's one I completely forget about. Using your wrist, like hugging with the wrist. Like that. I added a bounce there, that was bad. Yes?
Something to note, while you're in suit, remember that your vision is limited, and that, as an example, like, you need to be mindful of where your hands are, like,
Yes, be mindful of where your hands are.
and also mindful of the height discrepancy between you and the Munchkin kid, because they are roughly 3 feet tall, you're 6 foot tall. Guess what's at their 3 foot height?
That's part of what's kneeling down. Actually, that's part of what's really great about kneeling down and giving a kid a hug. There have been so many kids, especially walking around Grant Park, where the Cloud Gate, or as many call it, the Bean sculpture is. There have been so many little toddlers that have nutted me just from running up and going, hug! It's good, you know. And there was the whole Tigger scandal at Walt Disney World a while ago where, you know, he was going in for a hug and he like reached like this or something on a lady, and that went to court and they had to like legal battle that crap out. It happens every like few years with Disney parks where park character gets slammed with that kind of thing. You know, keep things open. You can even use the open wrist hug. You can go over the shoulder. Over the shoulder is very, very safe. Top of the back, not low back. Don't go low back.
For photographs, always have your hands visible.
Yeah, when you're going for photographs, always have your hands visible, so there's no question of where your paws are.
You don't groping anyone.
Yeah, that's why when I take a lot of photos, especially when people are taking their selfies or whatnot, I'll usually have a hand up here so that they can see later where the hand was, and I'll usually, you know, because they love that. They love seeing that in photos later where you're like, yeah, look at this guy. This guy's cool. Or if you're surrounded, doing both hands like that. Just something where they can, you know, they know where your hands are and you're not being weird. They teach this a lot in mascotting school, of like where to hold, where to hug. Like this, from the back, if we can spin you. Putting the hand here, across here, fine. The moment you go lower, that's a problem. So never like scoop around low like this on a random stranger, because they might think you're going for an ass or something. Again, it depends on the height of you and whoever is taking the photo with you. That can become a problem. Years.
I just have a quick question. With the thought of hypervelocity small children,
Does anyone ever build cups into their fursuits for that?
There are surprisingly very few people who actually build cups into their suit or wear cups underneath their fursuit. Do you?
I don't, but I don't know if you'd be able to hear me enough, but one of the things this is kind of an answer to your question, but it's kind of not, and it touches on something that Maddie's just brought up about kids nutting you. One of the things I do when I'm in public is I have a very economical headset, like a USB Bluetooth style headset on underneath my head, and I have two handlers. I have a handler that would be right where Ratty is, and I have a handler who's pretty much in plain clothes, and he's probably maybe the far side of the room, maybe where some of the folks by the mirror are, and he will tell me, you've got incoming. Okay, this is noon, my tail is 6 o'clock, 9 and 3, you've got incoming at warp 9, 8 o'clock, he's 10 feet out, aha! And it went pretty well. You'll miss a few, but you'll definitely catch most of them, and there's inevitably, my tail tends to attract a lot of people who would like to drag me around by it. If I could show you how it's set up, you can do that. It's been done. You could probably suspend me from the roof by it. And there's always some idiot just has to run up, grab my tail. And it's the same thing. Okay, you've got a creeper, 6 o'clock, dead behind you is 10, 6, 5, 4, stop. So that helps too.
Appendages do get grabbed, especially by children. Tails are a favorite target. They love grabbing tails, they love pulling tails. If you got like antlers or big horns, they love, patting them, whacking them. There's people that have very fragile horns and whatnot built in their suits that don't normally like that. There's a lot of hazards. Bye, Prowl, you suck. You're British. Go eat some crumpets.
It's tea time, don't you know?
This guy can get away with it though because he has a gun. So, very quickly, what is this?
That's a fire alarm.
It's a cat, right? What's this? It's a husky. What's this?
Dragon goat.
What's the multicolored thing? What's that? So, the actual answers are cat, husky, talbuck, bunny. But to a small kid, this might be cat, dog, goat, bear. And the deer might be a deer, it might be a reindeer. This might be a cat, this might be a fox to some kids, right? That might be a mouse or a rat or a possum or whatever. Honestly, just let it slide. Keep things simple. You got your motion simple, you got your itinerary simple. Keep your fursona crap simple too. Squeaky is a rat, but he has gotten rat, mouse, a possum, squirrel, chipmunk. Chipmunks happen a lot, probably because of the color. Surprisingly, somehow I got female armadillo. And I'm assuming because it's ingrained in most people's minds that blue means boy and pink means girl, and he's got those like fiery pink eyes. So some people automatically go to girl on him. Whatever, let it slide. He's also gotten fox, probably color, cat, don't know how, dog, and bear. Because the kid's 3, who cares? It doesn't matter if they're 3, doesn't matter if they're an adult. Don't take the time out of your day to be like, well, actually I'm a dog. Because you've just, that's its own ruining the magic. With performance, with any kind of performance, it's improv, right? You're having fun with it. We already talked earlier about having fun and being buoyant and doing whatever you want to do with the performance. The big thing they talk to you about in improv classes is to avoid using the no route, because as soon as you go no, you've shut everything down. You can suggest, well, how about this? But as soon as you say, well, no, I'm not, not a dog, I'm actually a deer, you've just destroyed whatever kind of image this little tiny kid had in their head, and now they don't want to talk to you anymore. They don't like you. They don't want the high five anymore. So just I mean, you know, no one needs to know that you are a purple transsexual dragon because no one cares. If this little kid thinks that you're a purple cat, be the purple cat. Just give them the high five and that'll pacify them. There's been adults that have called me all sorts of weird things too. I think that's where the female armadillo thing came from. A lot of the adults seem to think that Squeaky is female, which whatever. You know, you don't have to do the I'm a guy or I'm a girl kind of flexing that some people do when they're asked, are you a boy or a girl in the character. But you can just let that kind of idle stuff slide by. It's not really important. It's not really important. It doesn't really affect things. They'll just, you know, drunkenly take the selfie with you and they'll just leave. They'll just go about their day because they had fun. Master Splinter, my Master Splinter suit, has been mistaken by so many adults as the big bad wolf. Because he's got the, you know, that magenta colored bathrobe of a geese suit the karate outfit that to some people it just looks like a big bad wolf, and it happens. It happens with, you know, parents with young children. It happened with a 30-year-old wearing a Ninja Turtle suit bringing his 4-year-old daughter to a store because it was free comic book day. It happens, and I just slide with it. If you have to correct someone, there are really funny ways, especially if you're in character. I usually just say, "Kawabunga," and it clicks in their brain and it turns on. But really, I mean, you know, have you ever been called something other than rabbit or bunny? Have you been called something other than Talbuk or Space Goat? Sonny, have you been called anything other than a dingo?
Been called a coyote a few times.
That's
Close
insulting.
enough.
That is insulting to call a coyote a dingo. I'm sure you've gotten your own fair share. It happens. Just roll with it. Just have fun. You don't need to suddenly spontaneously act like you're a bear or whatever. That's just weird. Don't do that. But have fun with it. I'm trying to think of any other amazing, fun things that you can simplify out of your day. Yes.
What do you do when somebody tries to put a baby in your arm?
No.
Okay.
Give them the no. No, I can't do that. If they're really insistent, just break character and be like, I am not holding a kid. I will drop it with these hands.
I always tell people I can't see very well, and whenever somebody offers, oh, can you hold my baby? I want to take a picture. I always tell them I can't see very well, and I can't hold things very well with these things on. You know, I try to make it sound unappealing for somebody to put a baby in my arms.
Yes.
I actually, I've done 3 seasons as an Easter Bunny, and I have to hold a child. And like, you know, they come and like, oh, can you take a picture of me? Okay, yeah, I'll hold the baby. 3 weeks old. Trusting kid with a stranger. But anyway, so I'm always sitting down, and frankly, that's just easier. It's easier, you're not worried about, you know, like if your knees are locking up, or it's just easier to hold yourself if you're sitting down. So if for some reason you are, I don't know why, but you know, like I said, for me it was a job.
Yeah.
I had to do it. I couldn't say no. But sitting down, what you do? You make the cradle arms like this. Anyway, you can see like this, like that. Have the adult place the baby in the cradle, in the arms, take the picture, and the adults take them out. You do none of the work.
If you do any of the work, that little melon is going to splat on the floor.
Exactly.
There have been, for some reason, I don't know why, but there are times when I'm like, hey buddy, come here. You know, I don't say it, but I'm just saying it so you know the action I'm taking here. And the kid wants to sit on the knee for some reason and take the photo that way. I don't know why, but there have been times where they're like, my body just suddenly becomes a chair for these kids. I don't know what's going on. If that happens with a toddler, whatever, but like, you know, you're not holding babies here, you're not holding animals. Animals are not fun to hold. Animal claws go through fur. Just like they do through clothing and whatnot. They go straight through the fur. You feel that. They don't like that stuff. Things to simplify. We're not doing it so much anymore, but a few years ago, a lot of people liked to carry props around. Get rid of that crap. Why does the bunny have scissors? Props are cumbersome. Props get in your way. A lot of people just want their hugs, they want their high fives, they want their photo, and they want to get out. They don't want to question why you have a large pair of scissors, or why you're holding it. It can be cumbersome too. Like I have a little foam cheese that I sometimes bring around. Well, and when I'm interacting with people, I don't know what to do with this cheese. Now one of my hands is gone. What am I gonna do? Like, give them this weird, awkward hug holding like a foam cheese? Like, you don't know what to do with this stuff. Some of the props can be really inappropriate, and you shouldn't have them around. There's a lot of suits here, a lot of characters that play on a fetish of some type. And it's true. There's a lot of people who like to wear overalls with their suit, or they like to wear shorts, or they like to carry around a puffy paws or an inflatable toy or a beach ball or something. Don't drag your crap around. Like, first of all, it's cumbersome. It can get in the way. You're out in public. You could lose this crap, right? Someone could steal something from you. You could be on the beach and your beach ball could blow away, and suddenly it's in the ocean, or it belongs to someone else now, and you've just lost something that you paid money for. Not fun. But also, you shouldn't be advertising yourself as something. Like, there are people out there who get suits that are fat, right? Their suits are very large because it's something that appeals to them. That's really cool, but there's a difference between being like, hey, I'm this guy, and they're like, oh, you're so big and cuddly, and you're like, yeah, I'm big, to like walking around all the time being like, look how big my belly is, because they're like, what is this guy doing in the park? What's he doing? What's this guy? Like, don't play into, like, you have your reasons for having your character, you have your reasons for that. Some suits will play into that kind of stuff, whether it's age play or any whatever kind of fetish. Don't wear your harness over your fursuit in public. Like, don't do stupid things like that.
Unless you're at the Iditarod.
Yeah, unless you're at the Iditarod and you're a husky, then it's funny. Then it's funny. Doing themed things based on the event is actually funny. Other than that, just leave that crap at home. You don't want to leave people with questions. You want to leave them with the answer that, yay, they had a positive interaction. If they have any questions or weird doubts in their mind, that's when they're like, why are you here? What are you doing? Why did I even let my kid hug you? Those kind of weird things. Yeah, don't put yourself in a defensive position. You are being assertive, and it's like, yes, I'm here to take a picture. You took your picture. Awesome. They shouldn't be questioning, like, why are you holding like a giant inflatable like orca? Why is this important to you being a fox? Like, how does this fit together? Like, even they'll just be like, how does this fit together? How does an inflatable orca and a fox work? Like, are you supposed to be on a beach? Because you're not dressed for a beach. You're, like, wearing a tie. What's the tie for? Do you work in, like, the inflatable orca department? Is this your workbench? Like, it's this flash of, like, ugh, like, all of that hits them in a rush, and they're like, I don't know what to do or handle here. I saw a hand from gentleman with the camera.
People are asking still, why are you doing this? And you tell them it's for fun, and it's not good enough. They want to know what organization is it, or what event is going on. Is there a convention in town?
Oh yeah,
They want some kind of real answer they can put an image to.
Yeah, there are
I
people
want to say
who
it's
don't
like
take that.
Utopia, but we don't know what Utopia is really right now.
Yeah. That's actually a fair point. There are people who want more than, we're here having fun. Cops are usually very easy, as we mentioned, as long as they know you're not selling shit, they're fine, they'll leave you alone. Other people will ask, like, well, are you part of an organization, or who do you represent, or that kind of stuff. Usually the answer that gets out of it for me is like, we're a local cosplay group, or a local costume group, a costuming group. And they'll think you're just some guys, you're just some hobbyists, you're just some nerds, whatever, you're just having fun. Geeks. Bunny.
I actually do quite a bit of outside of conventions at a place called the Glen.
Mm-hmm.
And something that works for us is that we're just freelance mascots.
Freelance mascots.
That's funny.
Oh, whoa, there we go. Freelance mascots is another thing. Just freelance. There's a lot of freelance mascots, from sign flippers to people dancing outside in the ice cream suits. Yes, Rat.
So I usually don't say fursuits or like mascots of any kind. I just say it's a costuming group, and that seems to satisfy most people. And it's general enough that they know what a costume is. They might not know what a fursuit is. So then you'd have to explain more.
This is pretty much, I should have written things down and themed it better as a keep it simple panel. Furry terms, don't use them. Like you said, don't call it a fursuit, call it a costume. Call it a cosplay, because now people are now cluing into what cosplay means, right? Because there's always, you know, some article on Gawker or whatever about the cosplay babes. Keeping that kind of thing simple is very important as well, because you don't want to have to explain what a fursona is to someone when you have no time, when you're trying to beeline at a park. Yeah, have a regular vocabulary list and just keep it simple. You know, it's a costume, we're a costuming group, we're going to, I know a lot of people who, I was one included, who crosses the border a lot, and it's like, I'm going to a costuming convention. I'm going to a comic convention. It's very easy to get lost in the fact that you know, you're used to these words. You're used to fursona and character and fursuit and all this. You're used to these words. They're not, and you have to tone yourself down and bring yourself back to that just so you can communicate easily. So keeping everything simple from your performance, your actions, to the words you use can be very important, especially if you end up talking with random people. You don't want to work yourself into a hole where you start really getting into character and you're like, they're like, what? They leave with more questions they have answered. Yes, you keep giving me that look and I don't know what you mean. Like if you have a question or if you're just saucy.
No, just don't keep it all.
You're just saucy, you saucy, you saucy.
You want me to speak a little?
Yeah.
Well, something I wanted to touch upon is dealing with children and people in general. They have a particular bubble about them of comfort that you only want to approach them as far as their bubble until they, admit you inward. Children, the same way. You have to get the confidence up, the bubble shrinks, and approach them. And whenever you're going for a high five, let them come to you. When you ever go for a hug, let them come to you. Because you know how fast you're going. You don't have stereo vision. You can't see how fast your hand is going to go or where exactly their hand is. You might, knock them over with a high five. But let them come to you. That's something I want to touch on about that.
You're not a mascot. I know you'll see a lot of sports mascots and whatnot. They will actually complete the high fives and stuff. They're paid to do that. There are many of them that get 6 figures for doing that, but they're also trained gymnasts as well. You're not a trained gymnast and you're not getting paid for this. Let them connect. Let them connect. Let them give you the hug. Let them give you the high five. Comfort is very important for people. You're the one that's not in the comfortable position because you're wearing a carpet. So let them be in that comfortable kind of spot. Yes.
Also about engaging with children is that if they're not comfortable with you, you may want to engage with the parent to make sure that they're comfortable with it. But they can see how you're interacting with the parent, and you can get that trust that you've built up with the parent there. And build up that trust, and know when to actually cut it off. And you're not making any headway. You need trust interaction here. They don't want to have anything to do with you. Just wave and move on. That's all you can hope for some time. Maybe next time they'll have a hug for you. But till then, just wave. Maybe they'll smile.
Rat.
Yes.
Hi. No. only one rat allowed.
Oh, come on, man.
A big potential problem is if the kids are not into you and the adults want the kids to be into you and they try to push you onto them. That's still, actually I want to kind of ask how other people deal with that, because I kind of just try and say no, they're not into it, it's going to be a bad idea, they're going to start crying. They might already be crying and they're still pushing them into you. So, I don't really have any specific rules for that, I kind of just try to say no. I don't know if there's any other ideas you guys specifically use.
I'd say just kind of wave them off, get the idea that they don't want to have anything to do with me. I'll act scared of them. If the kid's crying, it's like, no, don't get near me. That kind of thing.
Another way to, you can act scared or something, or you can be like no or whatever. Another great way, and this is something you can even use here to get out of a situation, is to do this. You point and you go somewhere, and you see pros using this shit all the time. Like if you are, you're running low on time, you need to beeline to somewhere, you're you're hot, you're sweaty, you just don't want to deal with someone for some reason. You give them a quick wave, you point in the direction you're going, with the hand. It's harder to read if you cross. It's just, and you walk that direction, because it signals, especially when you're out in the real world, it signals, I have a purpose, like I have an area that I need to be, and I need to get there now. And that's how you can get out of certain situations as well. Just give them a quick wave and go. It's weirder if you kind of turn around and start walking the other way, because they'll be like, no, come back, I want you to hug my screaming infant. Just be, wave. I need to be at this location now because that's what I'm scheduled for. That's what they kind of read in their minds, like, I have to be over here. Boom, you are now suddenly over there and away from the problem. It's great. Happy hugs, happy thoughts, happy thoughts. Copywritten characters. I just wanted to touch on this at the very end. Copywritten characters are their own kind of mess. There are many corporations out there who will keep tabs on their public characters, especially in areas that we talked about, highly populated, where a lot of people are doing panhandling as a character. You'll see all these stories in the media about how Mario is passed out drunk, or Elmo got in a fist fight with Superman and all that. And these companies, Disney, Fox, Time Warner, all of them, they spend a lot of money making sure you don't hear any of that, and also spying on these people to see if they're trying to make money off of that kind of crap. I only take Master Splinter out at conventions. I did do an open air convention in London, Ontario, because it was in a contained space and they had little shop booths. It was outside a farmer's market. Weird little event. But, it was still in a controlled space. I'm not going to take Master Splinter strolling down the street for the bars, or I'm not going to take him out to a park or something, because that just brings up its own whole legal quandary. I mean, there are a lot of people out there who have Pokemon or Digimon fursuits, and if you're walking around somewhere random, you can't use that defense. You can't use the, I'm just here, I'm just having fun thing. It's like, well, why are you dressed like Pikachu? If you're just here to have a fun blast, having fun and just waving at kids, why are you dressed like Pikachu? Because he's an actual character from something I recognize, right? It's this kind of weird legal quandary with it, where people, they do keep tabs on these things. Not only are people just weirded out and you can't logically answer the question of why are you here if you're dressed like that, but also there are companies who do keep tabs on costumes just to see if you're trying to make a profit off of that. Now, there are some companies that you can register at, like birthday entertainment companies, where people will show up as Mickey Mouse or the Ninja Turtles for that, and that's fine, because you've already established a business kind of thing. With the 501st Legion, they do all the Imperial stuff, all the stormtroopers and all that for public appearances, and it's a volunteer organization. They don't really, sometimes they can get hired, especially Lucasfilm will hire the 501st to, march down the red carpet when they debut a new film, but for the for the most part, that kind of thing. But for the most part, they're just volunteers. They're just volunteers doing volunteer things, even if it's they work up a date to go do something for Make-A-Wish Foundation, or they'll go to the baseball, and it'll be Star Wars Day at the baseball field or something, right? It's still just volunteer stuff. They're not getting paid for it, and it's an arrangement that's been made legally, usually with a contract, that they can get away and do that. If you're dressed up like Pikachu and you're going into a store or something, or walking around a park, people are gonna really wonder why you're doing that. So it's generally, I find a really good idea to take your copyrighted characters and just leave it in the cosplay bin, where you're doing it at anime or Comic Cons, or in a venue where it makes sense for you to be there. It absolutely makes sense. The only time I've ever taken Master Splinter out on any other night is Halloween. Halloween is a perfect way to get around this kind of crap, because everyone expects you to be in costume. People will, this is where, Halloween is one of those places where things get lax. You can ride on trains in a fursuit. You can enter a store in fursuit. Because it's Halloween, people kind of put their guards down, because they're expecting everyone to dress up, and they'll automatically go, that's a fantastic costume, right? You'll be let into bars and clubs. I did clubbing in fursuit one year. Surprisingly, I didn't win any prizes. I went to all the ones in a city that had like, they were offering like 300 or 500 or even 1,000 for best costume. And I didn't win because I wasn't female and my costume wasn't a sexy costume. Like, cause also, it looks like a professional mascot too, let's be honest, right? It didn't look like I put work into it myself. But, you know, it was still fun going to the club in full fursuit and dancing around and being an idiot and accidentally spilling my drink on a girl. Because I couldn't use my thick friggin' hands. You still need to pop head and show ID if you're going into any places. Carry your ID. Please carry your ID. They will want to see any kind of ID. I know Tonic, right across from Anthrocon in Pittsburgh. Tonic, they're fine with you drinking, especially on the patio. They just want to, you know, to pop head, show ID, let you in the place, let you buy booze. Carry your cards on you. There are necklaces. You're not wearing it right now, but some cons give out a necklace with a pouch on it. Some cons give out, or you can even buy them. They're little pouch necklaces, like that one. There. Yes. You can easily fit a cell phone in there, along with a couple bills and your ID and a credit card or something. Just have some kind of identification on you. It helps if bad things happen. It also helps if you suddenly need to get a cab, or if you need to pay for something. You need to buy, you know, you need to dart into a convenience store and get Gatorade because you're dying. Oh, there you go. There it is.
Yay.
See, this is fun in there. That's good. If you have to make some kind of emergency call or something, it's always good to have those things on you. I always, even at cons, I always carry that stuff around. I even, on this suit, I usually put stuff in my shoes just to have it there. I'm using my pocket right now because I can actually use my hands. But yeah, just keeping things simple and keeping yourself pretty safe and hydrated is really the best way to go. I have one hand in the back.
So I have a number of friends that have actually taken their fursuit and worn it to the office. Some have actually given sort of joking business presentations. One guy called Rendon, I can't remember where he worked, but there's a picture somewhere on Twitter of him giving a business presentation for annual revenue protected in chickens. And he's a fox. How much have you guys seen that, or is that just sort of out there as a fluke?
I do it every year for Halloween at my office, but I've checked with them first, and they're really cool about it. They actually know I'm a furry, but I'm lucky because I work in like art industry, so everyone's like going to some weird con one weekend or another. Check with your office, check with whatever. Most people are usually cool with it. Obviously, if it's like, he said Halloween, you're going on Halloween, people are gonna see you in costume, and I love it because they freak out and they think it's the best thing ever, because I always win every contest at the office. So there's that pro, but definitely check.
Do office contests, not bar contests.
Yeah, office, not bar. And like, make sure you like check with HR, check with your leads, check with the owners, check with however big or small it is. Show them pictures, obviously, like, hey, I'm gonna wear this. It's big and bulky. It's like, you know, not a cute little cat costume. This is a huge thing. Is that kosher? And they'll let you know. Just, you don't want to show up and surprise everyone because it could be an issue. Because tail, giant horns, in an office, lots of expensive computers and equipment, you will knock them over.
I know for a fact that your office actually has a low ceiling, which is great. So
I actually work at an animal hospital, and my boss, she didn't know I was a furry until I had brought my fursuit to work because I was going to a fur meet right after work. She saw it in my car and she was like, "Oh my God, you should totally wear that with a lab coat and a giant stethoscope." So at my job, even throughout the year, like maybe once a month, I'll just stand outside my job holding a sign, surgery is half off this month or something. So I guess it depends on where you work, if it's okay for that, In my case, I work at an animal hospital, giant cat with a lab coat, it's pretty cute, So it depends on where you work.
always checking with the venue is a really good idea. Like I said, malls do not want you showing up. You can get away with it if you talk with the mall and clear it with their entire security team like a week or 2 weeks before you do it. Same with any other kind of events or something. You really want to clear that stuff beforehand. You never really want to just show up. You don't want to go, it's called guerrilla fursuiting, where you just show up and just expect people to just, do whatever. You just show up. It's not really a good idea. Always kind of plan things in advance. I kind of want to wrap it up because we are running low on time. Just move to a nice solid block of questions for the last 10 minutes of allotted time. But when it comes to fursuiting outside of the fandom, you want to keep it. You want to choose a good venue. You want to scope your venue out first. Make sure you're not going to die of heat stroke. You have good exits. You have a good friend there. Bring a handler if you feel in any way uncomfortable. Try and secure a handler. Don't try to do everything on your own. Don't be a hero about it. Respect personal spaces and keep things very simple so that you're not gouging people's eye out with whiskers or horns, or you're not making them feel uncomfortable by getting too close or anything, or by revealing any weird kind of secrets by saying, well, actually, I'm a space goat, not a, what was one of the weird ones you got once? Did you get cow once? You got cow, yeah. Like, I'm a tallbuck, I'm not a cow. Any questions? Any other hilarious anecdotes from our panels here about some weird shit that went down? No?
This happened to me quite a few times. I don't know if it happens to anybody else that goes public fursuiting, but I went to the Renaissance Festival in Houston, and so many people wanted to put on my fursuit. They were like, oh, take it off, let me put it on. And they kept asking me to take it off, so they wanted to see my face. And it gets awkward. Like you can even, easily say no, or I prefer not to show my face. But then it just leaves them with this awkward, like, why doesn't he want to show his face kind of thing, or what does he have to hide, or something like that. So that's just one thing that I keep coming across. People just keep wanting to put on my suit, or keep wanting to see my real face, or something like that. So if you're going to go public suiting, I guess just keep that in mind. People are going to want to try it on or something. Sometimes. Yes, I know. It's really weird.
It's just really weird when they want to do that.
I just say it's incredibly gross and sweaty in here. Usually people don't ask again. That's really, really easy. Or it's just a health thing, like, oh yeah, I was getting over a cold, I don't want to give me my cold, and yeah, that shuts people up really quick.
One kind of like I need to get out of here anecdote I had was I was at Youmacon a few years ago, and it was about 6 p.m. and this one older woman was ripped out of her mind at that point, and she's like, hey Splinter, I got some sake back up in the room, you want to come up? Don't humor people, just be very clear. It's like, hi, no, I gotta go this way, bye. Don't make the mistake of being like, oh sure, I'll join you up for sake, and then never show up. Because weird things will happen even then. Some people will like come back and find you and just be like, you didn't come up here, you failed me as a fictional character. Don't do that, don't do horrible things. Oh my god, what other horrible things have happened? I clipped some kids while skiing once. And usually parents will forgive that because they think, oh, you can't see shit, right? Some of those things are kind of forgivable. I've bumped into people a lot, especially because anime conventions are, 40K plus people. You'll end up bumping into people, and they're kind of used to it now. It's like, oh, okay, you didn't see me, it's fine, whatever. That kind of stuff happens. I think I accidentally shoved someone down a flight of stairs. I got pushed one way, and then they kind of fell down a few stairs, and I got blamed for it. But then they turned around, they're like, oh, you're just in a giant mascot costume, you can't see shit. It wasn't your fault that you got pushed into me. It's kind of funny. Like, hi, Mr. Griffin. Yes, you're pretty. Yes, you're gorgeous. You're beautiful. You're worth it. You're L'Oreal. So for those who have sat here for all the 2 hours of this crap, we can tell that he's a griffin and he thinks he's special and mystical and he's vain, and he's pretty and thinks he's pretty. That's his motivation, is to be a pretty, vain, fictional piece of garbage. Sorry to all the fictional, mythical beings that don't exist in this room, because you're not here to pay attention. No. Yes, question.
I was just wondering, with public shooting, with dragon
just run with it. Like most people with dragons, griffins, and all that kind of stuff, they'll fall to what animal they think works. Like if they recognize a griffin, that's cool, right? Like the word griffin is kind of ingrained in people's heads because of Harry Potter and Gryffindor and all that. But just go with it. Just roll with it. They might just call you a dragon. They might just call you like a lizard.
Cow. I've heard cow before.
Cow for a lizard character.
No, for a dragon.
Oh,
Big horns, big horns.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
oh, he had a bighorn dragon being called a cow.
Right.
Well, you've been called a dragon and a lizard and a cow and a goat all at the same time. So like it's just you just roll with it and just give them their hug and their high five and watch them walk away into the sunset forever because you'll never see them.
I had some kid call me Robin Hood, from the Disney movie. Like, oh, Robin Hood! And I'm like, I'm wearing a jersey.
I get Ratatouille a lot. There are parents with like 4-year-old kids and they're like, look, honey, it's Ratatouille.
Aww.
It's Ratatouille. He's gonna cook the soup. And like the Ratatouille dish isn't even a soup. But I don't say that. I'm like,
All away, boys. All away.
smile away,
Song all the time.
smile away, boys. Or Chuck E. Cheese. Chuck E. Cheese. I actually got Chuck E. Cheese once or twice. What other weird characters people think I was? I don't know. Are we?
My class starts in this room about at 6:30.
At 6:30?
Yeah.
Ooh,
That means we have time.
hot. What panel is it?
Fursuit Price is Right.
Fursuit Price is Right. Who wants to sweat it out and die? Do you have prizes?
We're giving away a badge commission to who's ever the fursuiter that's won the most in cash and prizes. We're doing 2 shows.
Ooh,
You know,
nice.
we need to get ready for that right now.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's all give a round of applause to everyone who's on this stage with me because I suck. And you know what? We are ready to go here. We're going to all scramble out and we're going to get ready for Fursuit Price is Right. I want to see some of these suitors come back. I want to see the people who are not in suit right now come back and do this because this is going to be good. It's going to be fantastic.